kind of like when we hit critical mass, we'll hang out for a little bit because we might go for an hour, hour and a half right now. So like, let's do our thing, you know?
Great. All right.
Amigo, you're live.
We're on. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to what is going to be an amazing walk through Times Square, and also a bonus. You wouldn't be able to do this even in a week or two. It's going to be a little, Christmas jaunt through New York City. Some great windows and some decorative trees and things like that. We'll be doing a whole bunch of stuff like that. Let me see. Let me actually join the event here and actually join event. Where is the event? Here we are. So I can see if anyone is in the room right now. Is anybody, you see anybody in there?
I'm not showing it live.
There's 4 people in the chat, I think it says. I don't see anybody in there.
I'm not getting it live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not getting a live feed at all.
For SANDEMANs live on YouTube. It looks like you set it to... All right, we are now live on YouTube and Facebook.
Do you see it? Let me see. Oh, there I am.
Hey,
That's
Walter, you look
me.
beautiful, man.
Look at that.
You can see yourself.
I can see myself. Who's in the, is anybody in the chat? Can we see this? Anybody in there yet? Well, anyway, as I was saying just a minute ago, we'll be taking a walk through, Midtown Manhattan today, doing a history of Times Square, the theater district, and also really cool. Guess what? It's Christmas in New York City. So we'll also be checking out some lights and some trees and some really cool store windows and all kinds of things like that. A few movie sites from the past, and the former home of a certain president that's leaving the office in a couple of weeks, that kind of thing. So we'll be doing all kinds of stuff like that on the tour today. So I hope you guys are ready to join us and have some fun with us. You picked a really good day to do this. Or I should say we did. Because the weather, as you can see, for those of you around the world who do not normally get snow, we got snow a little early this year for New York City. It snowed a couple of days ago. That's why it's not only white, but sort of black and gray as well, which is what happens when this stuff sits around for more than 24 hours. A lot of the folks that tune into these, or I know are from, are either coming from, listening from Europe or South America or Australia. It's like, it's below 0. It's like -1 or -2. Look, who's in there? Anybody in there?
Tons.
All right.
You want to say, you can take my phone if you want.
Oh no, let me check it out. Let me check it out. Here, let me see who's in there. I'm not, how do I pick that up in here? No, because I'm not getting the actual...
You got to go to your...
Live chat?
Yeah, go to your live chat.
Oh, here we go.
Now you can see people...
Well, hello, Manuel from Barcelona. I mean, rather from Berlin. Javier from Barcelona. We got Nikki from Edinburgh. Were you on the tour the other day? Was Nikki on the tour the other day? Ignacio from Spain. And we got Fibre 2000 saying hello. Where are you from? So, hey, we got some people in there. So guys, welcome. We're just kind of getting started right now. We'll actually get going and we'll actually start walking around in a few minutes whenever you...
3 or 4 minutes?
3 or 4 minutes. So,
let some latecomers show up.
Let some latecomers show up. So, while we're over here right now, just to orient you guys, if you've been to New York before or not, but you're probably familiar with some of the terrain. We're in Midtown Manhattan right now. This is like the middle of Manhattan, literally. Big business district, not a particular residential area, though there are some residential buildings. In fact, I used to live up a block from here, so it's actually, people do live in this neighborhood, but it's mostly a business district.
Hey, would you remind people that it's the coldest day that we've ever live streamed on, so we might have some technical problems, the equipment died?
Guys, it is chilly out today, like I was saying, Celsius-wise, below 0, so it's the coldest we've ever done one of these live streams, so if there's some buffering issues or something like that, we're sorry in advance, but we'll trudge through as best we can, so don't worry about that. But I anticipate a seamless tour with no interruption. What do you think about that? I predict 100% success.
Woohoo!
I predict 100% success on this tour. And again, I'm Walter. I'm taking you guys around today. I am a native New Yorker. I've lived here my whole life. So I'll throw in any questions you have along the way. I'll be checking my phone every couple of minutes. So just say hi. Ask a question. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Or at least Spec wants to know how cold it is here.
About -2 Celsius, which is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's -2.
Although it feels colder.
It does. You know, so Manhattan, the borough, is surrounded by water. You got the Hudson River to the west, East River to the east, the Harlem River way up north, and then the New York Harbor to the south. So it's all water. So when you're around water, the wind comes in on these streets. So you do get a little bit of a wind chill effect, the wind factor.
Nikki from Edinburgh.
From Scotland, yeah, she's from Scotland. She
was
was, right? I knew that. Hey, hi, Nikki.
All right, should we start moseying?
You want to do it?
Brother, when it's with you.
Just give me the point.
Give me the point.
Give me the point. We ready? Let's do it. All right, so guys, welcome to our Times Square walk today. So Times Square, it's known as the crossroads of the world. It is, I'm not kidding you, it's the busiest section of New York City. Now, when I say that, you're probably like, well, how would you judge such a thing? And it is a little bit of like sort of a guesstimation. But it's estimated that on an average day, 300,000 plus people go through Times Square at any given point, which when you do quick math is about 2.1 million per week, 8.4 to 8.5 million a month. And then you start going basically over the course of a year, it's close to about 100 million people going through here each and every year. And when we say Times Square, it's not a particularly big area. Generally considered to be, by the way, this is 42nd Street right over here. We'll talk about the deuce 42nd Street in a minute. 42nd Street to about 47th Street. So it's 5 blocks south and north, and then just from 7th Avenue over to 8th Avenue. So it's a very, very small section. You know, millions and millions of people going through it per year. But then the question is, well, that doesn't sound like much of a square, right? It's like, where is actually the square? And I'll tell you where the square is. You want to know where the square is, Chris?
I want to know.
It's right here. This is Times Square. This is the square right here. In fact, the building behind us over here with all this sort of scaffolding on it, the Walgreens sign, all that stuff, this building is known as 1 Times Square.
I'm panning around to it, brother.
Go. That's a very big pan. That's a heck of a pan.
Pan fast, you make people car sick.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make people car sick. Wow. Well, anyway, this building right here is 1 Times Square. This is how this neighborhood gets its name. It's based on this building, and it's named after the New York Times. So, back in the Times was established in 1843, and they had their original offices down by where City Hall is in Lower Manhattan. Going into the 20th century, the United States was having a very big influx of immigration coming through. People were moving into the city. We finally got to about, and by 1910, we were at close to 5 million people in the city. So it was the biggest population boom we've ever had in the city. So guess what? They had to develop more and more parts of the city for people to live in and for businesses to grow in. Up until the very end of the 19th century, where we are right now was farmland. It's just New York noise in the background. It was farmland up until the end of the 19th century. This was known as Long Acre Square due to the farm tracts that are around here. But the businesses up here. So what they did was they started enticing people. So they said to the New York Times, hey, come uptown. And the Times said, fine, we'll do it, but only if you name the neighborhood after us. So that's how we get the name Times Square. And the building behind us that we were just looking at, 1 Times Square, that was the New York Times headquarters, and they moved up here. It opened in 1903. So let's slide over this way, and we'll get a better pan on that building. And we'll talk a little bit more about the history of this area over here. Let's actually scooch over this way because we won't be impeded. Again, even during, so it's cold out. It's during, obviously we're doing this during the pandemic, but there are people out in Times Square even during these times. Let's scooch right over here, Chris. Yeah. So, a little bit about, again, the development. So the New York Times moves up here at the turn of the 20th century, and other businesses start to follow, right? So you guys have heard the expression, right? There's a broken heart for every light on Broadway. So one of the things that you always notice when you're in Times Square or you come here, the thing is lit up. Look at all of these lights up here. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, the lights stay on 24/7. You come out of your apartment or your hotel room at 3 or 4 in the morning, you'll see this ESPN scroll, all these ads over here, they stay on 24/7. Now you might ask, well, why would you do that? And the answer is something that we just talked about before. Section of New York City. It's also a section, like I said, also, you know, it's not a big residential. It's mostly businesses and hotels. A lot of people that don't live here sort of stay here. It's the busiest section of the city, and in order to keep it as can be, they like to keep it lit up. So back in the 1990s, they mandated that the lights stay on here all day and all night. If you're a business around here, you basically have to set aside a portion of the building for lights, and they have to stay on 24/7. So guess what? You get a very, very hefty electric bill at the end of every month, basically, and you have to pay it. So what do you do in order to pay that bill? You sell advertising on it. And like I said before, you got, I guess you'd say, advertising rates to put your your product here on the billboards. And for those of you guys outside the city, you know we celebrate New Year's in Times Square every year. Hey, Chris, you're going to pan around to that building again, One Times Square, and then you're going to pan up to the very top of that building, the very top where the 2020 sign is up there. That's where the New Year's Eve ball drops on New Year's Eve, less than 2 weeks away. Over 1 million people get penned in here each and every New Year's Eve, and guess what? The weather is similar to this. So it's freezing cold out here, and you have to get in about 10 to 12 hours beforehand, and there are very few bathrooms. It's a very uncomfortable experience from what it sounds like, because you know what? You couldn't pay me to do it, but people do it each and every year. Not this year, though. Because of the pandemic, although there will be a Times Square celebration, there will be no crowds, actually. But J-Lo's performing, if you're around the world, so you can actually tune in and watch the Rockin' New Year's Eve with J-Lo, but it will not have a crowd. Next year, the crowd will be back, but this year, because of the pandemic, there will be no crowd.
Could you ask the people that are watching on Facebook right now, if it's convenient for them maybe to watch us on YouTube?
Guys, you know what? We would love for you guys who are watching through Facebook to tune in on YouTube if you can get a chance. It actually helps us because it generates traffic to YouTube, which is what we're trying to do here, to generate a YouTube feed. So if you guys, please watch on YouTube if it's convenient for you to do. Continue to watch it, but we prefer you to watch on YouTube. So let's walk over this way a little bit and then cross down and talk a little bit about those lights, again, why we're staying on here 24/7. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like,
mind if I take a look at these animals over here?
Oh yeah, sure. We were going to come back, but let's do it now. Yeah, let's do it. No, let's do it. Let's while I you know what? While you look at the animals, I'll continue my spiel because it works together beautifully. So check this out. It all goes great. It all goes hand in glove. Check it out. Yeah. At one time, this area with whatever here, Elmos and all this, Times Square, the most dangerous section of New York City. You cannot believe that walking through it nowadays. But I believe it's an 18-year run between 1968 and 1986. 42nd Street between 7th and 8th Avenues had more crime than any block in all of New York City year to year. All sorts of high crimes and misdemeanors occurred in Times Square. You know what the old joke was? You could stand on the corner of 42nd and 7th for 10 minutes and see all 10 commandments broken. So there was all kinds of stuff going on here. Seriously, pickpocketing, drugs, prostitution, the whole gamut, basically. So it was not the most desirable place, you know, sort of hang out and whatnot. So what happened? People were leaving cities and moving out to the suburbs. And to have a lower tax base to run. In 1960, there were 8 million people. By 1980, there were only 7 million. 1 million people left New York City in a relatively, we're going to cross the street over here. Again, pick up the garbage, hire extra police officers. So crime basically from, no, thank you. Decade to decade, time to time.
Isolation.
Oh, okay. So basically, to give you an idea about crime rates, in 1990, about 30 years ago, there were 2,500 murders in New York City during that time. Last year, there were under 300. So a massive drop in crime during that time. So there was a big cleanup here in New York City that went on, and basically places like Times Square. Sort of like, I guess, being revitalized and whatnot, is a big part of that, of basically creating a safer city. So one time, Times Square, very dangerous, not so much anymore. And so who's in here? So it's Hay from Texas, so we got Christian in here from Texas. Nikki, is that hi to the Elmos, she says. We'll be back with those, Nikki. How cold is it there? So we're back. Yeah, we're back. There's only extra. So, yeah. Hey, Christian. So,
tell us where you guys are from. I want to know where people are watching.
All right. So let's stop then. I cannot do that and talk to that. So we got Texas, Scotland, Barcelona, Berlin, and SA. Is that San Antonio? I'm not sure. Maybe. SA, is that San Antonio? Canada, we got Brian from Canada.
I didn't mean for you necessarily to tell us where everyone's from. I was just saying.
No, they're already telling us.
I know.
But I have to. I'm just trying to.
Keep saying that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep them engaged. So I'll check in a
this theater.
Give me a second. So again, massive drop in crime rates leads to a safer Times Square and a safer basic general city after all. Now, when you're in Times Square, you're adjacent to the Broadway theater district. So let's take a little stroll here through and talk a little bit about the history of New York City theaters. Let's walk right under here. So come on over here. Yeah. So who's in the, let's see who's in the chat room right now. Anybody have any questions, by the way? Let's see, I moved over from Facebook to YouTube. Oh, that was Diana. So Diana did that. Thank you, Diana. She's from California. So she moved over from Facebook to YouTube. So yeah, anybody else who's so inclined to do so, please feel free to move over from Facebook to YouTube and get that stream going. I would love for that. I would love for that to happen. Let's see. Hello from Romania. And this person's name is The World Through My Eyes. That's a heck of a name.
It's beautiful.
That's a great name. It's beautiful. Yeah, The World Through My Eyes. Beautiful. So hello from hello Romania. So
where have we just walked through this building to? What street is this now?
So right now this is 45th Street over here. Actually, this is 46th Street. So we walked from 45th to 46th, and what we just walked under was the pavilion of the Marriott Marquis Hotel.
We must do better and stop these barbaric acts of violence and hold the criminal countries of Turkey and Azerbaijan accountable. For more information about this issue, please visit endthecycle.com.
There you go.
All right.
We condemn Azerbaijan and Turkey's genocidal aggression against the Armenian people.
What's going on here?
Azerbaijan
It sounds like I don't know if it's a Turkish celebration day. It might be actually. So guys, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Broadway Theater District in New York City as well. So remember before I mentioned something, the New York Times moved up to Longacre Square. They changed the name from Longacre Square to Times Square. So all of a sudden, this area, Midtown Manhattan, became a district for newspaper publishing and things like that. Another thing that moved up here during the course of the early parts of the 20th century was live theater. Before the 1920s, the
Can we walk and talk just because I'm freezing my butt off? No? Okay.
I have no hard
No
time.
problem. It's okay.
The theater district was down by Union Square, which is about 30 blocks south of here. So again, with that, we're gonna be going this way back again anyway. But what I want to do right now, we could stroll up this way. How about this way? Again, the city's trying to entice new businesses to sort of move basically, into this area, which was a burgeoning area. So another thing they got up here was legitimate theater. So the Broadway Theater District has 40 Broadway houses in it. Most of them this time of year during the Christmas season would be filled up with shows, but of course this year, because of the pandemic, there is no Broadway theater. The most famous show running on Broadway for the last, 6 years now, is Hamilton, running at the Richard Rogers Theater. Hamilton tells the story of course, Alexander Hamilton was the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States, created by a native New Yorker, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It plays at the Richard Rogers Theater. Richard Rogers is the most famous Broadway composer. He, of course, of Rodgers and Hammerstein fame. South Pacific, The King and I, The Sound of Music, Oklahoma, you know all those shows. That's why the theater behind us is named after Richard Rogers. So when you guys come to New York, or you come back to New York, I should say, check out a Broadway show. Hamilton will be here. Across the way, you'll notice the sign that says Scientology over there. It's another kind of theater altogether. That is the New York headquarters of the, Scientology, Universal Scientology. They'll actually give you a free tour of that place if you're so inclined.
Sure they will.
But they'll also hand you some brochures about the glories of Scientology as they do so. Whether or not you want to make that sort of exchange is entirely up to you. You know what we should do? Let's cross over the street this way and then sort of weave back around. So come on over this way. Mm-hmm. Is everybody enjoying? Oh, we got Bailey from South Africa. Diana's asking about when the shows will reopen. So Diana, what they initially were thinking of was going to be spring of 2021, but that I believe is highly unlikely at this point, due to the fact that the vaccination rollout will only really sort of be in its mid-phase by that point, and the idea of basically people being in a 10 months from now, so that would be my guess. We have Israel, we got South Africa, we have.
But who? The countries are important. The people are the important thing.
Avigal, which again is a very nice name. Avigal is in the Gal.
Wave in Hebrew.
Hey. So Who else?
Forget about it.
So, when you're walking through the theater district, you see these signs that says TKTS. So if you want to get a Broadway theater ticket, they can be a little bit pricey. But when you're in New York City again, this is the place you go to on the day of for discounted tickets when there's, when the shows are going on. So this is known as Father Duffy Square, by the way. Father Francis Duffy, he was a parish priest here at the turn of the 20th century. He brought people into his parish from all walks of life, and they honor him here in the theater district of the square. The TKTS booth is right behind him. So again, you would get online, and basically you see what would be available for that day. And the tickets are usually about half price, so you get a 50% off, theater ticket when you are in, when you basically get on the line there for the TKTS booth. But of course,
New York State flag.
so that is the New York City flag right there. The orange represents the Dutch influence, basically. What's that?
State flag, not city flag. Right?
No, the state flag is blue entirely.
Oh, yeah,
that
right.
is the. Oh, I know I'm right.
You know you're right. You know you're right.
The flag beneath it is the Parks Department flag. That is the maple leaf right there.
The wind decided to time it so it stopped blowing right when.
That's fine. It knows. And again, look at all these lights. Again, they stay on 24/7. No joke. They're on all day and all night. And I know, so as you're panning around here, it's like it looks fairly crowded, but trust me on this. Christmas in New York City, Times Square, I would be doing this right now if we were doing the tour a year ago or a year from now. You'd be all over the place.
What would you do?
Like this. I'd be doing this. People would be like all over me right now. I'd be doing that. Be doing like a James Brown kind of.
James Brown thing?
James Brown kind of basically right now.
Showing your feet in the
Sure.
James Brown.
I'm not doing any splits though. That's definitely not happening in this ice basically. Oh yeah. So while we're over here, just another little thing. Again, if you look back up there again, you'll see the ball that says 2020 on it. That is where the New Year's Eve ball is going to drop. A few years ago, funny story. I'm telling you, I grew up in this city. That's where the balls dropped. About 10 to 15 years ago, somebody had the brilliant idea of keeping a replica of the ball there all year and selling advertising beneath it. So people like myself saying, hey, that's where they dropped the ball from. And there's like a Kia advertisement beneath it. They have so it's very, it's ingenious in its own way, basically. They actually started selling advertisements because they knew people's eyes would be going right to the top. But that is actually not the ball they'll drop in 2 weeks. That is up there basically all year, basically. That's kind of the idea about that, basically.
Like the understudy.
It's the understudy. It is the Broadway understudy, basically. Let's wheel up. Speaking of Broadway, let's wheel up, and then we'll walk up the block over there. Hey,
So Walter,
yeah.
for the people that joined you on your last tour of Lower Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
that was Broadway as well, right?
That's right. And when we talk about, that's Broadway again, the only avenue that runs through all of Manhattan, 13.2 miles.
And you said in the last tour, for those who weren't here last time, that Broadway used to be the old Indian Trail before any of the European settlers got here.
That's right. The Lenape Native American people, the way they basically traversed Manhattan was right down the middle on Broadway. So if you look at a map of Manhattan, a lot of straight, we're on what's called the grid up here, by the way, in Midtown. Streets are very straight. If you were on that tour last time, Lower Manhattan weaves around like that. Up here, things are on the grid. The later part, again, it's developed later, and the city planners said, hey, we should open up the city and make it straight and not have all these cursive streets that don't let light and air in. But Broadway is the exception to that.
Batman.
What's that?
Batman.
Oh, it's Batman. All right.
I am the best Batman in the world.
Look at that. So Batman, you got a female Captain America over there. Oh, wait a minute, Brie Larson is Captain America, is she not? I think, no, that's Chris Pine. Who does she play? Who did Brie Larson play? I forget. Does somebody know? Anyway.
Captain Universe?
You got me, you know what? We'll figure it out. But Anyway, if you look at a map of Manhattan, Broadway is the exception to that on the grid. It actually does, it curves through because they trace the old Native American hunting and trading trail. Speaking of, also again, being on Broadway, George M. Kohan statue is right over here. George M. Kohan, he was the king of Broadway at the turn of the 20th century. If you know the movie Yankee Doodle Dandy with James Cagney, he plays George M. Kohan. He won the Oscar for that in 1942. And George M. Kohan was just like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who created Hamilton. George M. wrote his own shows and starred in them himself too. You probably know It's a Grand Old Flag and Over There, songs like that. He wrote all of those. So this is why he is right here in the middle of Broadway. A great song and dance man. This is your glove, by the way, sir.
Oh, where'd you find that?
On the floor.
Thank you.
Cool. So let's walk up 46 over here. Let's walk up this way. Yeah. So, yeah. And it's funny, you know, if you're looking at the tour, you're going, go to the tour right now, like, again, it all looks like somewhat crowded in Manhattan. 42nd Street, this area is always pretty packed. As we walk up just half a block, you'll notice that the a lot less foot traffic here on the floors, on the ground. We kind of start just walking like half a block up this way. And again, a classic, plowed snow drift right over there. I don't. All right.
Alright, so I'll start.
Oh, do you want to go first?
Let me see here. All right. Where do we go? Oh. So again, you walk away from Times Square. All you're doing is going, we can walk in the middle of the street that's shut down. Perfect, look at that. We can walk in the middle of the street.
It's like you're Tom Cruise in Vanilla...
It's like I'm Tom Cruise cursing out my crew on Mission Impossible 7.
No, Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla Sky, that's right, he is kind of walking down. So the streets are closed because of all the snow we had. We had over a foot of snow, which for December is very, it's unusual for We do get some snow sometimes in December. That's the Actors Equity Building right over here to the left. So all your favorite Broadway people, that's their union basically. That's the Equity Building over there. You go to audition there and all that stuff. I'm an Equity member, so I know all about that. Although I've never been anywhere near Broadway. I have to buy a ticket to get on to see a Broadway show.
We're gonna fix that.
We're gonna fix. That's all good. I'm enjoying. This is like theater, right? This is theater right here. So as you guys see, though, guys, shuttered restaurants over here. What we've done in New York City, though, during the pandemic, try to assist the restaurant and help them stay in business. A big part of our economy is we've basically allowed for a lot of outdoor seating. So these are normally not here. So the restaurants themselves built these. They MacGyvered them basically. They put them together over the last couple of months in order to at least try to stay in business during the winter months here. We're going through the worst wave of the pandemic right now, actually. And it's very difficult on restaurants. The Broadway theater industry, it's all tied in together with the restaurants around here. It's a multi-billion-dollar situation that has just been totally shut down. And a lot of businesses, unfortunately, have shuttered. So they are trying to keep some of them open as best they can, but it is an uphill climb.
What's the current rule right now with New York restaurants?
No indoor dining at all, like zero, literally zero. That just started this week again. It was that way a couple months ago. So no indoor dining. You can only do outdoor dining and takeout and things like that. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the high school. This is Jackie Onassis High School, named after Jackie Kennedy Onassis. It's the very first. Watch yourself, Chris. There's a car backing up this way. I think I should make sure. It's the very first performing arts high school in New York City. It's actually the original Fame School. Before it moved up to Lincoln Center, it was right here, basically.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The original Fame.
The original Fame. I want to live forever.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's stroll up this way, Chris. Let's see who else is in the. Who else is in the chat stream with us? Who else is out there? Anybody have any questions for us? Feel free. Oh, my battery is dying.
Say hi to us.
My
Cold. We need some warmth.
Yeah, my battery is conking on me basically. So guess what? You're gonna have to.
Take my
It's
phone.
frozen. Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, give it to me. This is conked out. Oops. We're losing it here. All right. All right. Yep. So Diana says she has cousins that are in the fire department.
Everyone else can read it too.
I'm just trying to make conversation. Hello, she's been there.
I know. You're good.
I am. So 6th Avenue here is known as Avenue of the Americas. Basically a sort of a ceremonial naming back in the 40s in honor of our, our friends in the Americas, South America, Central America, and whatnot. That's why it's named. If you ever see that, that term, Avenue of the Americas, that's kind of what it's 6th Avenue. Most people just call it 6th Avenue, but Avenue of the Americas is sort of nicknamed that. Now, if you're walking up 6th Avenue, and we'll get into this as we kind of go along, it's home to a lot of media in the United States. So a lot of television broadcasting and publishing. If you know American media, a lot of it originates from
Scam.
from 6th Avenue. It's a scam?
Yeah.
Oh, the weed candy place? Oh yeah, there's no actual, there's no active ingredient in there. Is that not correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Not correct. No correct. You know what else is in there? Yeah.
Oh, 47.
So,
You were looking for some diamonds?
yeah, let's walk up a little bit up the street. Talk a little bit about the Diamond District. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you for telling us we're doing great, by the way. It's very nice of you to say that. Get. Yeah, let's go. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah. So we are in the Diamond District here, guys. This is basically. No, thank you. So basically, it's one jewelry store after another, and it looks kind of like you see a lot of old buildings on the block. A lot of these are family-run operations, generation after generation. It's really an old school slice of New York City. It used to be that a lot of, basically you would go from neighborhood to neighborhood or certain blocks from the city for certain products. So, for instance, we have a thing called the Garment District, which is a few blocks south of here, where you get, you go to get like, yarn and all kinds of fabrics and things like that. And then way back when on the Lower East Side, a lot of haberdasheries and tailors and things like that. This is where you went to get, jewelry and things like that. And again, it was like it's one block. A lot of this, and actually, if you're a jewelry maker, a lot of these buildings over here, you go up and they have sort of like, off the floor kind of stuff where you actually go get your diamonds like away from the floor. You saw the movie called Uncut Gems last year with Adam Sandler. It is a sort of a look into that world. It's actually shot all right through the Diamond District, basically over here. And if you come over here, we can actually cross the street and get a better angle on it. This is obviously a newer building on the block. Yeah, but I have to. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. So this building right over here, it looks like a diamond, right? That's basically a little art. You know, New York City, lots of different sort of styles of architecture. This is a base, you know, this is a newer building, but it is an Art Deco style building in the sense that, you know, Art Deco is short for Art Decorative. And because we're in the diamond district, this is actually, a lot of the big diamond dealers actually have their headquarters in this diamond-shaped building. And all the rest of the buildings on the block, you know, all of them are over 100, easily over 100 years old at this point. This one is sort of the centerpiece of the new diamond district right across the way. You know what we should do, Chris? Let's walk back to 6th and then cut up and around. What's that?
Making a U-turn.
Let's see, who else we got? We have Michelle. Michelle Sandeman is in there.
Sounds familiar.
Is she a fan? I think she might be.
Might be my mom.
Hi.
But she loves your tours.
Well, I'm glad. Well, thanks, Michelle.
She's from the Upper West Side.
Oh, cool.
Washington Heights.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that's right. So you got like you got the old school native New Yorker roots basically. So again, I was talking a minute ago. I'm like, oh yeah, you go up 6th Avenue. There's a lot of, you know, broadcasting and stuff like that that comes, you know, from the United States and whatnot. So as we come around the corner, I'll show you one of those.
You gotta open it with the car. Doesn't matter, anything counts. Just open the door. Yes.
It's old school New York hustle on the block. I'm telling you, it's pretty interesting since you kind of cut through it. So, yeah. So we'll come out on the other side of scaffolding. Give you a clearer view. Yeah. So, like I said, there is a lot of broadcasting on 6th Avenue. That's the News Corps building over there. It's Rupert Murdoch's company. And yes, you see the logo Fox News. So if you've ever seen Fox News, which is the, one could call it the media arm of the Trump administration, this is where they broadcast out of in New York. So this is the News Corp building over here. They have a very nice Christmas tree across the way. But Fox is one of our one of the media companies you would definitely you know, be talking about when you talk about broadcasting coming from New York City and around here. Yeah, man. Well, you know what? Let's see. You want to cross the street? We'll get some nice angles on some nice Christmas holiday stuff. The main event for the Christmas stuff is still to come on 5th Avenue a little later, but.
So what are we seeing later on? We're going to Rockefeller and
we'll go to Rock Center. We'll check out St. Patrick's Cathedral, Radio City Music Hall, Saks Fifth Avenue, Tiffany's, all kinds of stuff.
Exciting. I love the preview.
You know, well, you know, if you're asking, you know, yeah. So you notice up here, you know, lots of space again between the sidewalk and the buildings. We talked about this on the previous tour when we did downtown. Basically, though, over the last 60 years or so, the international style of architecture, where these buildings go straight up in the air, has become the sort of the way of doing things throughout New York City. But in order to let light and air in, again, they have to build off the side. So these public plazas are really nice examples of that. And what can you do? Well, you have seating in the summer, but during the winter, you can put up these beautiful sort of Christmas decorations, these sort of replicas of Christmas lights and all kinds of things like that. Excuse me. No, it's okay. It's okay. So, and again, anybody listening in on, watching on Facebook, feel free to tune in on YouTube. That way we can actually get your questions in the live stream on YouTube. So feel free to tune in to that. Am I getting the live stream here? Yeah, I think I got it. Oh, so across the way, we were talking about...
Doesn't look like you're... What's going on?
Hey, oh. It's across the way over there.
There you go.
Okay. That's NBC. NBC has their studio. We talked about Fox a minute ago.
That brings us up to live right
That's
now.
Fine. No, it was the last stream. So NBC has their studios across the way. You see the sign there saying, "Oh, the Tonight Show with Jimmy." Oh, let's not cross yet. Let's not cross yet. I don't know if we have the light. But also, we could do it from over here now, for now. But I just don't know if we have the light. It's just out. So it's just the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. You see, there's a signage. There's a sign right there, and that's fine. It's fine. You'll see it. You'll see it in a second. If you watch Saturday Night Live tonight, Kristen Wiig is the host, former SNL cast member, with Dua Lipa. She is the musical guest. It's broadcasting right from here. This is NBC. This is the back side. We'll see the front in a minute when we're inside Rockefeller Center. This is the building known as 30 Rock right over here. So this is where SNL shoots, The Tonight Show, Late Show with Seth Meyers, all those shows they shoot right out of here. And again, lots of broadcasting, like I was saying, right here on 6th Avenue. We're gonna cross over here once the light hits over here. I didn't know when the light was hitting. I ain't getting run over by no buses. It's all good.
Why don't we walk up there?
There's no crossing on the corner over there. No crossing on the corner. We'll just wait right over here. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Alrighty, so yeah, so NBC is right over here. Now if you look up this way, what we're coming up on is Radio City Music Hall, which is one of the most famous live theater venues in the entire world. It's a 6,000 seat theater. And this time of the year, normally, you'd be getting lined up to watch the Radio City Rockettes do their Christmas Spectacular. That is the most famous show that runs in Radio City each and every year. But of course, this year, unfortunately, there is no, we'll walk up one more and then kind of cut around. There is no...
Could you plug that? Could you please clip that onto your body and turn it on the other way around so it's on the inside instead? There you go. You can do it like this. Just so that way it's less likely to
Oh, yeah.
fly out like that. Interesting little decorations in there.
They do a very nice job in there. And normally, again, like I said, that place would be hot. They usually run that show 3 to 4 times a day during the height of the Christmas season. But this year it's another casualty. If you look up the block beyond the flag, you see that very tall building.
Yeah, it's that.
Okay. There's a very tall building going up right there, skinny. That's the, we've been talking a little bit about architecture and design on these tours. Those buildings, people call them toothpick buildings. They are I guess they're the look of what the city, it's the modern style, the most up-to-date sort of look. And the reason for that is Manhattan, it's been overdeveloped, right? There's so much development on it. You have to find narrower and narrower plots to develop on, and you build higher and higher. So these skinny sort of toothpick buildings are the wave of the future, basically. So a lot of people feel they lack personality and things like that, but that is what the skyline is going to be looking like as we get further into the 21st century. Those very tall, skinny buildings kind of going straight up in the air.
What's this building here?
This is Radio City right here. This is just the other side of Radio City Music Hall right over here. And when you're walking up the block, you're walking up towards Rockefeller Center, which is where we're going to do right now. Unfortunately, I don't think you can actually walk in Rockefeller Center today. We might have to do it from the outskirts of a little scaffolding, or rather like a little pavilion or something. We'll figure it out though. A little fencing. So who's in the, any new people in the chat room?
That's easy. No, we hit that on the.
You have the phone again.
No, is your phone charged back up?
Nah, it's the cold killed it. The cold kills the battery.
So the way that you get people to chat in the chat room is ask them questions. You ask them like, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And then, because then people get to interact. Much easier for someone to answer a question than it is for them to ask a question.
I'm doing the best I can.
Oh, you're killing it.
A lot to do.
Você pegar uma peça.
Fritzkos and then Fritzkos.
Oh, we actually can walk into Rock Center today, which is great. So let's actually stroll this way. Chris, let's go. Alright. So guys, this is Rockefeller Center. As we're walking up towards the tree, I'll just give you a little bit of just a little history about the Rockefellers, like who they are and why they have this center sort of named after them. Yeah, it's going to be different. I had a feeling it's all parceled off. We'll get around. We'll weave around in a second.
Looks like that direction that I wanted to go was the. I think you can go through that way.
Okay. Let me just briefly, while we're over here, and I'll wheel around.
Sure.
Okay. Let's just go this way then. Okay. So the Rockefellers, let's talk about who they are, basically, and why they have this center named after them, basically. So the Rockefellers, John D. Rockefeller in the 19th century became a major oil baron. He founded a company called Standard Oil. And have you ever heard about, American, United States antitrust laws being put into effect? You might hear about the case against Facebook that's going on right now, trying to break up Facebook because, it absorbed Instagram and all these other things. It's too big, basically, and it doesn't serve consumers because of that, no competition. Standard Oil, back in the end of the 19th century, was the very first company that the government went after because they were basically running the whole show. They were setting prices and gouging, customers and things like that. So they broke Standard Oil up in the early parts of the 20th century, and they broke them up into companies like Shell and Exxon, all these other companies. So that's a lot of the major energy companies you know about. They actually were they were sort of broken up from the original Standard Oil. So they were major, oil barons, basically, energy barons, the Rockefellers were during the 19th century. In the 20th century, they were trying to get into more, different walks of life. They were very unpopular, the Rockefellers, because people felt, and correctly, that they had taken advantage of a lot of labor laws when there were no antitrust, laws and whatnot. So they had built up this massive fortune on the backs of the American people. So during the 20th century, John Rockefeller Jr., John D's son, was trying to basically, clean up the family name and get into other walks of life. And one of the things he wanted to get into was international commerce. And this is not, I don't know that you can really walk. Let's walk, let's try to weave through here. I just don't want to. I don't think you can go. I think you have to be ticketed to go through there to get on this. I don't think you can just walk through there. Yeah.
He's pointing around the back.
Yeah. We're going around this way.
He's pointing the other direction, but
there's no. Which direction?
He was. I don't know, man.
I'm saying let's walk up the block. There's only two ways in here. So where was I? Oh yeah, so John Rockefeller Jr. was saying, okay, we want to get into international commerce and whatnot. This area is what that was all about, basically. This was, lots of small businesses and apartments, and basically the Rockefellers bought up this big plot of land during the 1920s, and they started developing on it, and they created Rockefeller Center. This is during the Depression, and it was the largest personal real estate development history in New York City. It takes up 5 whole city blocks, north and south. It goes over a whole avenue, east and west. And it kept a lot of people in the construction industry employed during the Depression. So it was actually quite a boon, actually, in that respect. Let's walk up the block this way. We'll talk about St. Patrick's on the way back up. You know what? I don't know, actually. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think so. But what I want to do is I want to walk back up to this way and show you down the garden walk. And we'll come back up and we'll talk about, because we're going to walk up 5th in a few seconds. But I want to come down and we'll talk about the Atlas statue. So basically this is part of, when you're in, when you're over here, on Rock Center on this side of Fifth Avenue, which is the west side. You're on Rock Center.
I haven't gotten any messages yet from the battery having a problem, so looking at that.
What happened?
Nothing, I was talking to you.
Oh, the other side is private property, basically. This is all Rockefeller Center property over here. And you're looking at the Atlas statue that way. Basically, Atlas, of course, has the weight of the world on his shoulders. And that's sort of an interesting metaphor. For the international commerce I was talking about. So let's see if we can actually walk down here or not. I'm not sure. And yes, you can. So let's stroll down like I wanted to do. So this garden walk down here is one of the most beautiful public spaces in all of New York City. Seasonally, it gets changed up. So you see this time of the year they have the angels out and the little trees over here and the stars and things like that. During the spring, they have roses and things like that. In the fall, they have gourds and pumpkins. They change it up constantly. It's actually one of the things that was sort of baked into Rock Center because, again, the Rockefellers were unpopular. They were putting together the largest real estate development in the history of the city. And people were upset about this. They're like, okay, fine, well, we're going to also put in this beautiful public space for you guys, basically. So that's kind of like the idea behind the garden walk over here. And yes, the skating is actually open. I think it's in very limited numbers, but I guess you can book some time to do this. You can see over there, it's about as close as we can get, unfortunately. But there is skating going on here in Rock Center. Isn't that nice? And again, what is it, a 78-foot tree this year? Every year they have the tree set up. By the way, this building right over here behind the tree, that is 30 Rockefeller Plaza. So have you ever heard about 30 Rock? You remember that TV show with Alec Baldwin and Tina Fey? That's what it's named after. It was known as the RCA building when it opened in the 1930s. It's the building where the very first television broadcast ever occurred. So this was a place of great tactical innovation. NBC News shoots out of here and across the street. So the Today Show, NBC Nightly News, MSM, they all shoot out of the buildings around here. Again, it's all very much dedicated to NBC. It's known as the Comcast building. Nowadays, Comcast is technically the owner of NBC, the big international corporation. So that's kind of what goes on over here. And by the way, that gold statue over there, that's Prometheus. Prometheus is Atlas's brother. Atlas has the weight of the world on his shoulder. Prometheus, he breathes fire, right? He brings heat to the world. That's you know.
Steals fire from Zeus, and then he gives it to the people. His curse is to be to die every like day by having his like body or his liver eaten by a hawk. And then he comes back to life again the next day as punishment for giving fire to man. And that's what makes Prometheus the first philanthropist. He's the earliest philanthropist, because phileo, meaning phileo, like loving of. And then anthropist, I guess, is human, like philanthropist.
Yeah. Okay.
Philanthropist. Anyway, because he was the first one to sacrifice for himself to give to man. That's the idea.
And there he is.
Safe.
I guess that was a Rockefeller metaphor, basically.
You could just tell people that the gimbal is messing up.
The gimbal.
It's just
a little shaky
because of the cold.
All right, it's resetting because of the cold. It's all right. We had all cool stuff. My phone contacts.
I'm not worried about it. I just wanted you to tell people.
All right. You got it all, baby.
All right, let's get out of the way.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for your patience. Appreciate it.
So across the street, as we're walking up this way, straight ahead, beautiful lights, the greenery on the side. That's Saks Fifth Avenue, one of the most famous stores in all of New York City. Beautiful windows every Christmas, very famous for that. Let's walk that way and up. This way we get a little pan of the store. So come on up this way. And we'll do a little Christmas window shopping. Let's do it. Yes, let's walk over and check out the Saks Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue. What's going on?
I have a charger in my backpack, actually.
I have it. I don't know. I think the battery just conked on me. It's all right. So let's show.
There's kids watching.
What did I say?
Oh, sorry. I thought you used the F-bomb.
No, I said conked on me.
Oh, conk.
Conked
Oh,
out.
we're not saying-
Oh yeah, let's. Usually there's a theme to these. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. But so far these are very New Year's-y looking, not Christmas. They got some green and red in there. And people are, their eyes are, they're covered, the eyes are covered. See, it's this theme. What does it mean though?
Why aren't their eyes covered?
Why is her eyes covered? I'm not sure. The lady in green has covered eyes. I'm not sure what's going on here. But these don't.
I think that the wig might have just slipped forward.
Or bad window design. I'm not sure. No. Here's Christmas. That was the New Year's portion, I think. This is the Christmas portion. Hey, they have masks on. That's nice. They have a mask. The guy selling the stuff has a mask on. Yeah.
Well, it must be somewhere in the Midwest because only 2 people are wearing masks.
That's true. It's in New York. You see, we do the mask guide. I don't know if you guys noticed that. The Roosevelt Island tram being represented. That's nice. You know, Saks has a department. You know, they window design department. They're quite great. They're great. They focus a lot of their year around the Christmas window. It's actually very, very, very good. And they have a team that's just Christmas oriented, actually. Want to check out St. Patrick's?
Can we go inside?
I don't think we can go inside.
I think we can.
We can't. I don't think we can film in there.
Let's try it. We did on the tour to Lisbon. We went inside the church yesterday, and it was awesome.
Can we not? I don't. If you want,
Let's just be discreet.
I don't think we can film doing it.
Well, do you want to stay outside and I'll go in?
Sure. Let me just.
If
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
nervous about it, I'll go in.
You know what? You could just go in there and pan if you want. Let me just.
When
Let
I
me
did
just.
photography as a college kid, people, my target people that always say, have no fear.
Okay, I'm not fear, but hey, Chris, let's do one thing first. Let me. So let's talk a little.
Sorry, talk. We're listening to you. You got the mic.
I know. Okay, so St. Patrick's Cathedral opened in 1879, and it is the center of Catholic life in New York City. When St. Patrick's opened, New York City was a Protestant dominant city, basically. But big influxes of immigration coming in from places like Ireland and Italy. Lots of Catholics were leaving the old world and coming to the new world. And the powers that be in Rome said, hey, you know, losing a lot of Catholics over there, and a lot of them are going to New York City. Let's make a real, you know, sort of like splash, basically. That's why the church looks as beautiful and ornate as it does. It really was meant to put the Catholic imprint here in New York City. You see the beautiful sandstone and the white marble over here as well. Do you want to?
Through the street.
I So you see they have beautiful wreaths put up here every year, and in the back, I guess we can walk down to the nativity scene. Do you want to see it? Yeah. Let's walk down there. Yeah, they're gonna. It's. What do you want to do?
Just ask him.
No, you have to check your bag, or at least go through bag check. That's your job.
Do you want to ask him?
Do you want to just go?
I'd love to do a walk around inside really quick.
Okay.
It's just hard for me because I'm holding the camera at the same time, and if I have to have a conversation, I can do it. It's fine. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so let's stroll down. see the beautiful nativity scene back there, a midnight mass in New York City, a tradition. I don't know what they're doing this year, but they are clearly letting people inside here. So maybe there's, I don't know what the exact plan is for midnight mass on Thursday, but this is the altar from which they do it. And if you eventually pan around and you look up, that is the pipe organ that goes up to the ceiling back there. That beautiful tone. I know. Does it work?
Yeah. It's got holy water.
Well, you're good then. Yeah, that's good. We can just show that from here. So, yeah, so I feel like,
It's like, I didn't realize the Pope gets a picture like the president.
all right. All right, well, that was the silent portion of the tour. It was hard.
They wouldn't have bothered it from the whisper.
I didn't have, I just felt like I didn't want to disrupt anybody. Yeah.
Well, you know how good this receiver is good enough that if you'd kept talking and stood outside the entire time, we would have heard you.
You think so?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you could go down 5 blocks from here, as long as we got a straight shot. We'll still receive it.
Cool. Well, let's go back across the street over here. Get a view of St. Pat's across the way. We'll walk up Fifth and check out some more Christmassy stuff. Oh yeah.
Just when that happens, you could just talk to people for a second, explain that. Take a quick say, hey, quick thing. When you notice the camera goes on,
Oh, I didn't know the camera went off. I
I don't
didn't.
know when it goes, but when you see the gimbal mess around, then
All right.
give him a shout out. Let him know about fixing it.
Okie doke. They did a very beautiful refurbishing of the exterior of St. Pat's. $100 million, but the church looks really well. See, the thing is that the church is on Fifth Avenue, which of course, as you can see, is a very busy thoroughfare. So they just basically spruce it. It looks about as good as it did when it opened. It's 141 years old. 141 years old. It looks about as good as it did from the day it opened. It was a beautiful room.
It does look amazing.
No, it looks amazing. It's a gorgeous cathedral. Let's walk up the block. Come on up. Let's do it. Hey, Christmas time. Let's flash.
Oh, nice day. You can't bring him down.
Nah, I can't do it. Not knocking me down. 2020 is not knocking me down. Let's try though. All righty. So again, Christmas in New York City. It's just this. They go hand in glove together, right? They literally do right across the way. So that's Cartier across the street over there, wrapped up like a gift with the polar bear sort of coming over the ribbon over there. And some, it's funny. Some stores do more of a Christmassy decoration than others, basically. Some that's not. Oh, something's rolling through. Yeah.
Must be from Jersey.
No, New York, but maybe upstate New York. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the rules, right? For instance, like Victoria's Secrets over here, they did not do a good job with their Christmas windows. I mean, even though they're closed right now, they didn't even try. They're like, it's not Christmas, and like, look at whatever Furla is. That's not Christmassy. This is not very well done. Or Versace, not much doing with the Christmas over there. Versace. Dyson, which does mostly like, I don't know, it looks like, doesn't Dyson do like vacuums and stuff like that? Not very Christmassy. But
what's your favorite New York Christmas tradition?
Let me see, probably the lighting of the tree is a good one. They do amazing caroling down in the Village in Washington Square Park. That's a fun one to take, and you can do it. They'll give you the sheet music. You could just show up with like the worst voice in the world. They don't care. They'll let anybody sing, but that's kind of a fun thing to do. You can kind of go do. So Cartier does so far Cartier is ahead. They did a nice job. Saks did a nice job. But some of these other places, we're taking a pass on Christmas this year. Not quite as spruced up as they normally are. Let's keep going up the block and see what else we got over there. Yeah. So, yeah, Fifth Avenue is, you come to New York shopping, people come to shop. Fifth Avenue is like probably the main or the most famous, avenue. We have all the famous stores are on Fifth Avenue. This is somewhat Christmassy. Again, not Hollister, not the best though.
Where are we headed?
We're gonna head up. Watch out. We're heading up Fifth Avenue north. We're going north right now.
What was that the corner of back there?
The 55th, 56th, 55th. St. Thomas Episcopal Church. They do a very nice choral, seasonal, old music sort of. They do like Bach programming and things like that. They're doing Beethoven soon, but I'm not sure what they're doing for this particular holiday season. Again, a lot of stuff is kind of disjointed this year. Yeah, I see a Christmas bear ahead or something. That's cute. Surprisingly crowded out. I mean, people are obviously in the city for Christmas. This is cute. I'm not sure who's sponsoring it. There's a Christmas car over here. Yeah. Pretty cool. We can cross, which is fine.
University Club.
University Club, beautiful building, late 19th century building as well. A lot of the clubs are like the Harvard Club, the Yale Club. A lot of them are in this area. 1899, I was right.
Shout out to Alex.
Oh, hey Alex, how you doing? Where's he from? Where you from, Alex?
All three of us.
And if you look, looking ahead to the right over here, big black building over there. That's Trump Tower right over there. You dropped your glove again.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. You are my club hero.
So yeah, so Trump Tower opened in 1985. That is, Donald Trump's basically home base until he moved to Florida recently. I think he changed his residency earlier this year or late last year. But that's where he rode down the escalator famously and declared that he was running for president.
This is the Golden Escalator building.
It's the Golden Escalator building. That's it right over there.
If only.
Let's just cross over here. And then we'll get across the way. Harry Winston across the way. They do a nice job with they're a jewelry store. They do a very nice job with their windows generally. It's kind of nice this year.
Tag something. Yeah.
Yeah. So this Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church, again, nice sort of little Christmas decor on the outside. Normally this time of year, again, we'll be opening for some sort of Christmas programming on the weekend especially, but this year. St. Pat's, though, open amazingly. The other churches are not, though. Usually all open at the time.
It's been 2 years since I've had it.
Yeah, because there's a program.
let's stroll up this way. Yeah. No, we're heading north. And if you get in that, you'd be heading to the up the air, basically. It's a balloon.
So what is the deal with these streets?
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. You know, like a lot of people, I've sort of been like very, you know, secluded during the this pandemic. I have not really. This is the first time I'm walking the Christmas street this season, so a lot of it's new to me too. I just have not been out that much. I'm surprised actually at how many people are actually out and about. Very interesting. And we'll cross the street and we'll take a look at Tiffany's windows. Abercrombie Fitch, very nice, very homey, very old school kind of window. Kind of like those. Yeah, there's Trump Tower.
Tell us more about Midtown. Like,
yeah, give me
so
some
if we were
questions.
here 200 years ago, it was all farmland? Or?
All farmland. We're about 2 blocks south of Central Park right now. There's a pig farm over there, basically, during the early parts of the 19th century. And Tiffany's, unfortunately, they do not have their Christmas windows open this year because they're doing a renovation. So they don't look like they're doing their actual windows, which is unfortunate because they usually do beautiful windows. Like I said, I was unsure about some of the stuff that would.
What happened when that happened? Sorry, what happened when that happened?
What's that now?
Sorry, I'm talking. Sorry, guys, I apologize. Now everyone's asking. So, speaking to Javi and Manu.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Walter. You keep on talking your thing.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, we're coming on Bergdorf Goodman over here. They always do a beautiful Christmas window over here to the left. This is a very big exclusive department store. During the 19th century, this was someone's house. This was the Vanderbilt mansion, right? Or the Vanderbilts actually lived in this building. And nowadays it's Bergdorf Goodman. They always do a very nice Christmas window. Very spruced up for the holidays. So what I'm noticing this year is that the windows are a lot more subdued. Usually they do a lot of words like joy and gratitude that are sort of being spelled out here. You're gonna lose that glove.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff at the same time right now.
Yeah.
So let me get back on the phone with these guys. My AirPod stopped. Your phone doesn't work, huh?
Nah, can't. So you see the Bergdorf windows from across the way. They're a little more Christmassy on this side, but not as Christmassy as they normally are. That's what I sort of got this year. And behind me over here, this is the Plaza Hotel right over there.
Fast like that? I just need a second so I can spin around so I know what you're pointing at.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah. It's because when you say behind me, then people listen and they don't know what you're talking about until I get
All right,
there.
great.
So this building over here.
This is the Plaza
Okay.
Hotel right over here. I guess it's the most famous hotel that exists in New York City. The Waldorf Astoria would also be up there, but that's being renovated for apartments at the moment. I think it's being converted to condos. Plaza Hotel, talking about movies, Home Alone, Lost in New York. That's where Donald Trump meets Macaulay Culkin. So there were a lot of memes going around the last few weeks. They would have the Donald Trump, Macaulay Culkin sort of picture, and it would say Lost in New York, Lost in Georgia, Lost in Arizona. It was pretty funny if you followed the presidential election. And
I'm not sure if you can hear me. it's muted, so I can't tell if you can hear me or not.
And right over,
Right, sorry, I guess you can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
and over this way,
Okay.
this is Grand Army Plaza right over here.
AirPod died, and my
This is
backup
how
was
the,
syncing,
This is how the Plaza, oh sorry, this is how the Plaza Hotel actually gets its name. It's named after the plaza out here, which is a dedication to the soldiers who were lost during the Civil War. So the Plaza Hotel was in 1907, about 50 years after the Civil War ended. But it's actually named, so the plaza is named after the plaza right here.
Because I've got my phone out now, I'm trying to balance the camera.
Yeah. As you can see over here, they do this beautiful Christmas ornaments here outside the plaza. Very lovely.
When we set up, when we set up a new box pad,
You know what?
when we set up okay, so next time, that's fine. We can do it. Cool. Good stuff. All right, great. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Oh. Yeah, so very nice. During the summer, there's actually a water fountain here. Actually, actually spouts water about. During the winter, they shut it off, obviously, because if you don't, you got to shut the pipes. You got to shut the water fountains off in the winter in New York City. The pipes freeze up. So during the winter, they do very nice displays. Sometimes they put flowers in it. During the Christmas season, obviously, they have these ornaments and you get a really nice view of Trump Tower back that way and Bird Dog Goodman from over here in the plaza. And right outside Central Park as well. So when you walk up this way, Central Park is right here. So you can actually get to the Central Park from that, we walked about like 16, 17 blocks, actually relatively, close. And maybe next time we'll do a Central Park walk for you guys, do a little history of that. It might be fun.
It sounds like a good idea. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. So, hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, watch out. Right? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever. Whatever you celebrate, we hope you're having a great season with us. I hope you enjoyed the little jaunt through and everything.
Why don't you make your backdrop this rather than the backdrop?
Sure.
Construction thing. That's nice.
So, guys, we hope you guys are having a happy holiday season wherever you're coming in from. And thanks for joining us today. And thanks.
Here, I'll give you the phone back again so that you can say goodbye to the people that were watching.
Alrighty. So Diana, Steve, Michelle, Christian, Manuel, Avi, thank you for joining us and happy holidays to you all. Bye.